Hi everybody and welcome to the video and live streaming show. I'm John Lacey and as always I'm joined by Sam Proof. Today on the show we're going to be digging in a little bit deeper to the Mix It Up app, the chatbot that gives us all kinds of wonderful options, and specifically I guess with a mind to sort of figuring out how we can reward our loyal viewers. So it's coming up on today's show. We are going out live to all the various places, so humor me and do that hashtag team live or team replay thing if you're watching later on. Sam, I know it's a very, very busy, hectic time of the year, but how are you going? How's your week been?
Yeah, it's definitely busy. The holidays are basically full swing now. The girls just had their last day of school. Amanda's been off this entire week, and it's just been run. It feels like, a week ago, it felt like we have 3 weeks until things are happening, and now it feels like Christmas is tomorrow, and we're still like getting things ready. So it's pretty chaotic. But yeah, it's cool to have everyone off, and we'll have some fun things planned for the holidays. And yeah, how's everything on your end?
I had sort of had my last day of work for the year yesterday, so I was very happy to put that part of the year aside, and just I'm really looking forward to just chilling out for a few weeks, and I'm got nothing particularly planned. I will see family for Christmas Day, but otherwise it's going to be a very, very low-key affair, so and that's the way I like it. But hello to Saeed, who's watching from Germany. Great to have your company today on the show. So we are going to be digging deeper into that Mix It Up chatbot that we love so much. And Sam, specifically, I guess you want to talk to us about creating a loyalty system, loyalty points, a sort of a currency for our stream. So what do we need to know about that?
Sure. I mean, growing a community is a really hard thing as a creator, and keeping that community around is just as hard. So to do something as a streamer that encourages people to not only be around but join you while you're live is really important, and that is where the potential of a loyalty system comes in, or a loyalty point system comes in. So this is essentially, an instant reward for people who come, join your live, watch your live, and then kind of bank up these points for, and it doesn't have to just be for watching the live. You can do other things as well, and you can do a variety of these points. So for like my Sam Proof stream, I have a bunch of mini games, and as you play those games, you'll get more points. Similarly over at the Cute Avalanche side of things, we have different sort of holiday themed games, and you can earn earn points by doing that. And then once a viewer has earned all of these points, they can then spend them on things that directly affect the stream. In the case of Sam Proof, I play board games. They can renew these points to like mess with me playing the game. On the Kitten Rescue or Acute Avalanche side with the kittens, they can pop up some fun graphics that show up on screen, which I think a lot of people have seen something along those lines, especially in the gamer side of the world, where like trending, GIFs will pop up, and so on and so forth. But yeah, you can do a lot of other things like that. You can create leaderboards so that people can kind of like get that little competitive edge of like, well, I want to, earn points for that. And you can create a variety of different points. So maybe you have one that is just, show up and watch the stream and you just earn these loyalty points, but then you can do other more specific ones that are kind of on a schedule, like, just during the month of whatever, or I'm just going to do these for this one marathon stream, and whoever sticks around the longest gets a bonus prize. Like, I'll make a custom entry command for you and stuff like that. So yeah, we're going to take a look at how to make those points and how to create redemptions for those points. And if we have enough time, we'll do a few other fun things at the end as well.
Okay, awesome. So I think maybe just to get our grounding with all of this, we might watch a video that you prepared a little bit earlier. So we'll go to the first one, and I think it's got a really useful example. So let's check that out right now.
All right, today we're going to take a look at setting up Mix It Up for a new channel and creating some viewer loyalty programs to encourage your viewers to come back every time and to participate in chat and things like that. So I will be working with my PGZ Cast Twitch channel, but again, Mix It Up can work for YouTube and Trovo, so you can use any of those. And I have Mix It Up open, so we will be using this new profile chiclet setup. So we'll hit the new profile button, we'll accept the license agreement, and click through to next. Hold on. Make myself smaller so you can see this. Okay, and now we're going to log in to Twitch as our streamer. It's going to open up an OAuth screen. We'll scroll all the way down and just hit authorize. And once it says successful, you can close that out, go back to Mix It Up, and you're good to go from there. You could set up a second channel on Twitch to act as your bot. Right now, any commands that run a chat message will show up as PGZ Cast in the Twitch chat. If we decided we wanted some other more obvious bot to reply for us, this is where you would do that as a bot account, and you would just do the same process to log in through that. All right, so I'll hit next, and this just gives you some simple instructions, but we already know what we're doing, so we're going to move on. You can set up the backup location, which you should know where your backup goes to, so I will do this really quick for myself. We're going to go to this PC and go to our D drive, and that is just where I do it, and go into Mix It Up. And just select OK. And now I'll hit next. You could save that wherever you want. That is my personal preference, to have it on an external drive and not my C drive. And now it'll take a minute or two to sort of set up, Mix It Up, and then it'll take you to this screen. We'll take a quick look throughout here. On the top left, there you go. Now it's in there. It's automatically brought us into the chat window. So if I type things here, right, that is the chat. And then if I go back here, there you go. Oh, you can't see it because I'm on top there. Boom, hello world shows up right there. So that is your chat window. That does go directly into your Twitch or YouTube or Trovo. Potentially all three if you connect all three accounts. So a real quick look at Mix It Up. On the top left, you have your hamburger menu, which has all of these sections. We're going to be looking at things like commands, action groups, primarily currency, rank, and inventory today. And some other stuff like that. But there are a whole bunch of different things you can do, overlay widgets, mini games that are already here, giveaways, and so on and so forth. Special moderation so you can block out, banned words or specific people and things like that. Okay, so that is your navigation over there. Question will take you to the Wikipedia for Mix It Up in a new browser window. Mix It Up is an extensive program that does a lot of things. You're going to want to spend some time on this Wikipedia. Primarily, head down here to this special identifiers if you want to do some more dynamic stuff. This will show you all of their special identifiers, which are basically like variables you can put into your commands that spit out dynamic content. For example, date and time will give you this sort of date and time format of month, day, year, hour, minute, AP or AM or PM, and so on and so forth. All right. Back in Mix It Up, the last little thing at the navigation here we're going to take a look at is the settings cog, which gives you another navigation menu with some other things that have to do pretty much with Mix It Up itself. You can change the colors, the theme that you have going on if you want to personalize it, but how your chat works, a bunch of different things. The only thing here that you really, I think, need to pay attention to from the get-go are two things: the overlays, which if you're going to be putting overlay graphics into OBS or similar software, you're going to want to have this set up and grab that from here, but we will have to turn that service on over in the other navigation, but you'll come back to this. And counters, if you're going to do any kind of dynamic counter, this is where that sort of information will be available. It will also, if you set it up correctly, save to a file so you can edit it from either aspect. But yeah, those were the things I think you need to know on here. You can also check out all of your user data as well here, which might be useful in the future. Okay, so for today, I do want to go to services really quick and show you this. You can add a ton of third-party services, including your streaming software, most streaming softwares, including OBS. There are directions on how to do this. IFTTT, which I like to use quite a bit for automation and webhooks. You can do that here. If you're doing anything more complex, you may need to add this developer IP and connect that. Mix It Up will take you through most of these things as you come into them. But just so you know, that is where all of those things are. Streamlabs, Streamloops, Tiltify, Patreon, Discord, all of those services. Okay. So that's a quick rundown of the layout of Mix It Up and just a brief glimpse as to what it might be able to do. We'll come back in a little bit and set up our first loyalty point or currency so that when viewers return to our stream, they're earning points that they can then use to trigger special effects or overlays that only people who have those points can do. So thanks for watching, and find me on the next video in this series.
Okay, so essentially there was a bit of a walkthrough of the Mix It Up, how you can actually sign in with your Twitch account, your YouTube account, that kind of thing, and Trovo, which I still don't know what Trovo is. I don't think I'm ever going to care about Trovo, but I mean, if Trovo was for you, just be aware that it is supported, which is amazing. And obviously, Sam, we have a whole collection of those different services that are out there, and I guess on the one hand, it's a bit like OBS Studio itself. You know, it can do everything, but, you know, if you're a beginner, you probably want to focus on a handful of things. And we certainly have done previous shows with very simple chat commands. And that's probably the place that I would encourage most people to start. But once you do get a little bit more advanced, there's so many different things it can do. And especially, you know, you spoke about the overlays there, the ability for people to not only interact with the chat, but to literally interact with the elements on the screen as well. So that's really cool. Yeah. And obviously the things that you do at Cute Avalanche, especially for Christmas, and the Super Bowl, which I need to pronounce correctly for legal reasons.
Right, yes.
You know, it makes it really interactive.
Gotta roll the R's.
Yes, yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Saeed mentioned earlier, sounds like my last job, getting paid for just showing up. I think that was the currency for the watch time is what he was referring to, although, you know, it could have been at work this week as well.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess a couple of other things we probably should mention in case you're completely new to Mix It Up. This is currently Windows-only software. They are in the process of actually building a sort of a web-based version, a cloud-based version that is hopefully coming soon. But right now, you will need Windows to operate it. And depending on what you're doing, it could even be just running in the background on a different computer that runs Windows if you don't need to interact with it completely.
Yes.
Although I will note that certain things I forgot to turn off in the background are populating in the chat right now from last week's show, so I better go in and turn that off. But we'll come back in just a moment. But hello to Ender Trading, who's joining us live, which is amazing because he doesn't normally get a chance to do that. Yes. But thank you so much for being here. We're going to come back in just a moment and talk about actually, I guess, the way to set up that currency and learn more about that in just a moment.
We are constantly training our cats every interaction that we have with them. So when Johan would get on my counter before, this is 10 years ago before I was the cat expert that I am now. Johan would jump on the counter. What was the first thing I did? I'd say his name, Johan. He loves that. That's a reward for him. He said, you just said my name. I would go over to him and I talk to him and be like, you can't be on the counter. Johan loves when I talk to him. Ding, that's another reward for Johan. I'd pick him up and put him on the ground, but I didn't want him to think I was mad at him. So when I'd pick him up very nicely and kiss him on the head and say, I love you, but you can't be here. I'd put him on the ground. I had just done 3 things that rewarded him for being on the counter. So I was encouraging him to continue doing that.
And that's a promo for Sam's podcast, Just Kidding Around, which you can learn more about over at cuteavalanche.com. This is the video and live streaming show. Today we're talking about the Mix It Up chatbot and how we can actually make it, reward the people that show up and participate in our live stream sessions as well. So we've just looked at how we can actually download and install this software and sort of link it to your accounts. Again, this is supported by YouTube, Twitch, and Trovo. And I've said enough about Trovo, so I'm not going to say that again. But anyway, we can do this, and it can do all kinds of weird and wonderful things. I mean, just, in case you're not catching this live, for example, when I play that promo for the podcast, which I just realized after having for an entire year, I've actually got a typo in the word podcast, but there you go. This is literally... This is a chat command from the Mix It Up chatbot, which is sort of triggered by a multi-action on my Stream Deck. So, I mean, it's a good way of doing things. You probably want to proofread those a little bit, but let's talk about actually creating that currency. And I guess we should be really clear when we talk about currency. It's only like game tokens in your stream. It's not real currency. It's not cryptocurrency. You don't need to give this to the tax office. They won't want it. But what do we need to know about actually working with a currency within Mix It Up, Sam?
So I think first off, there's actually technically like 3 kinds of currency in Mix It Up. So they have currency, but then they also have rank and inventory. So the big sort of differences, the broad strokes there, are whether or not it's consumable and how it's accrued. So currency itself, and a lot of these, it's very customizable. So you're picking just exactly how these things happen. So with currency itself, and rank is very similar, it is accrued either through watch time, which is how many minutes or hours that you as a viewer are spending actually watching the live stream. You can also set it to, for your Twitch viewers, how many bits they've donated. And then you can create sort of modifiers for if they're a subscriber or a mod, then they can get bonuses on top of that. If they follow, if they subscribe, if they host, they can put bonuses on top of that. With the rank system, it's the same. You can do all of those things, but currency is consumable. So when I set a chat command and say this costs 10 slices is the example I give in the videos for our currency. Then if you start with 100 slices and you use that command for 10, you now have 90. Whereas with the rank, this is sort of an ongoing, non-consumable thing. So like you'll create rank levels. So after 100 hours of watching the stream, you earn rank 1. And then maybe that unlocks this cool, chat GIF overlay that you can do. So anyone who's just showing up, they can't do it. It's locked to them. But when you do that, you're not going to lose rank. It's always there. You're just going to keep going up. And then the last one is inventory, which again is a consumable, but it does not accrue through watch time or bits. You will actually create a methodology for actually getting that thing, whether that is purchasing it through using the loyalty points, the slices, or some other method like through a game or whatever. You can also have a shop created where they can like use those points that they've earned to go buy that item, and then create whatever effect you want for that. So again, you create some kind of items, let's say garlic knots to go with the pizza theme, and you've spent 2 slices to buy a garlic knot. Seems like a bad trade, but then you can use that item for something more elaborate, bigger and better and more interesting. But very much items are very similar to currency. So really going into this, if you've got a small community, you probably don't need all 3 things going off at the same time. I would just suggest starting with the currency itself, maybe the rank. Items seems like, you know, it's interesting, it's fun, it's something to reward people. We've used it as kind of a badge for uh showing up during specific holiday events and things like that, or like marking different litters that we've had on Cute Avalanche. But yeah, it's one extra thing, so keep in mind you don't need to do all of them.
Absolutely. It's funny. I was watching a TikTok live earlier in the week, and I watched it on the computer, which I don't normally do. I often watch things on my phone, but the interface was a little bit different, and quite prominently at the top of the screen, it actually ranked like the top 3 viewers. And it seemed to be based on a combination
Yes.
of chat participation and view time, and also if you purchased one of their rewards. Essentially, you can pay TikTok to have things flash up on the screen as a gesture to thank the streamer.
Yes.
And that was really interesting. And I hate to admit this, but I'm the kind of person that is very easily gamified. So if you give me some task and give me some kind of reward for that task, I will do that all day long. But let's go watch this video that sort of documents how we can actually set up this currency, because I'm really interested. This is something that I personally haven't done yet, so I'm really curious to see how this works out.
Yeah. All right, thanks for joining me in my Mix It Up series. Mix It Up is an awesome chatbot that you can use to do a multitude of things on your Twitch, YouTube, or Trovo live stream. Today, we're going to take a look at setting up a digital currency to reward your loyal viewers for coming back and participating in your stream. So we're going to head into Mix It Up. I'm already in the services with the navigation menu open. So you can find this once again from hitting this hamburger menu. Come down about a third of the way to currency, rank, and inventory, and click on that. So the first thing we're going to do is on the bottom left here, we're going to hit this add currency rank button, and we're going to be doing a currency, not a rank, and I'll get into what that means in just a minute. So we'll be making a loyalty point system for the Pizza Games and Zombies channel, and we're going to want to name our currency. You might think Brains is a good name, but I have plans for that, so we are going to call our currency Slices, because you want to get all that pizza. And now there's a variety of things you can do. If you plan on doing other currencies, you might want to toggle this primary in toggle on or off, enable that toggle. I'm going to leave that as primary for now. This is not a rank system, so we're going to leave that as is. And I don't need to put a maximum amount here, but if you decide to do a special like holiday kind of currency that they can only earn throughout that 1 month or some kind of competition, you might put a max there for whatever reason. There's a variety of ways that people can earn currency. So first, watch time. You can do it per minute, per hour, for bits donations, or set up custom triggers, or just disable that aspect of it. We're going to leave it at 1 per minute, but we could set it up as a custom and do 1 per 10 minutes. Sure, let's leave it like that. 1 per 10 minutes. We'll get that. So 6 slices an hour, which gives them a almost full pizza, or a full pizza if you go to like a personal pan pizza place and you get a 6 slicer. Sure. Okay. Now we can also add modifiers. So if they are a regular, a subscriber, or a moderator, they can earn more. I'm going to give our subscribers a doesn't let me do a 0.5. So we'll do a 2. Our subscribers are going to gain 2 slices for every 10 minutes. Our moderators can just be normal people. And then you can do event bonuses. So when somebody follows you or hosts you or subscribes to you, they get this amount as well. So we'll do a 50 on a follow. Let's do 20 on a host and 100 for our subscribers. That all sounds great. You might want to play with those numbers. And finally, in this last little bit of settings, maybe they need to have been active for a certain amount of time before this happens. So let's say, 10 minutes proves that they're kind of into what we're doing. And you could have your currency reset either annually, monthly, weekly, or daily, or leave it at never. If this is your primary, I suggest leaving it at never. If you're doing something that is, again, like a special thing, then you might want to do this kind of reset. If it's like a competition or something like that, and you link it to a leaderboard, which we can look at doing in a future video, you might consider doing one of these other things. For your primary, I highly suggest leaving it as never resetting, and they just accrue as much as they accrue, and that is what it is. When you're happy with all of this information, you can hit the save button. You can always come back and edit it later. This is going to give you the option to automatically add 4 commands to your chatbot. And again, unless this is a special currency that is for, a competition or something else, I think this is worth doing. This is automatically going to set up these commands that will show the user their slices, their currency. When they hit exclamation mark slices, it's going to say, John, you have 12 slices. When you hit exclamation mark add slices, you're, as either a moderator or the streamer, going to be able to give slices to a specific user. Similarly, add all slices will give all users in the chat that amount of slices, and give slices gives an amount of slices to there's a slight difference between add and gives. Gives is taking away from your stockpile. Add is something that, as an admin, you are giving from the infinite supply of. So we're going to hit yes, and I will show you where those show up. We go into our navigation, go into commands, and we're going to hit our custom commands, and there you go. There's our 4 commands already generated, and it has set the permissions for add all slices and add slices to moderator only. You might want to switch those to just streamer. Depends on how you run your thing and what powers you want to give your moderators. While give slices and the one that lets you check your currency, those are for all. So user shows for everyone. So if I go into one of these, I click the edit button, that's the middle one, it'll bring it up, and it gives you this command toggle. And you can see in the chat, this dynamic message is generated that shows the username special identifier has user slices, which is the special identifier for your currency. And then slices is just the text that says it. So what you'll see is Sam has 6 slices when this runs. Okay, so we can just close that out. Nothing to change there. That's perfect. And if I go back into our currency, you will see that it shows you those user special identifiers here on the main screen. So user slices, target user slices, and top 10 user slice or top 10 slices. So if you wanted to make that that leaderboard that we talked about earlier, you're going to use that top 10 slices variable in a command, and you can set that up to run a leaderboard either as a visual overlay or just as a chat message. And then again, if I open this up, here's all the information we already put in, so we can close that once again. And now you can do some other fun stuff. So we'll go back into chat commands, or just commands, and we can create a new command, and this command is going to cost slices. So most simple thing we can do is add a image overlay, and we're just going to call this home slice, because I don't know what I'm doing. I've just made this up on the fly, and I'll correct that really quick. Okay, we can set up a command group, and for this, I'm going to call this GIFs, because I plan on this being a GIF. And this is the chat trigger field. So we're going to have this be the word that triggers whatever the image is. And I'm just going to have this be, can't use slice because that's already used. Well, slices is already used, and that would be confusing. So we're going to avoid that. So for the sake of whatever this is, we're just going to call it home because I don't know what image I'm grabbing yet. And then we will go into our user requirements, and we could set this to be a specific role, so only moderators or subscribers can do it. But since this is going to be a paid one, we're going to ignore that. We can set a cooldown, so people can only do this once every, let's say, 60 seconds. Okay? So if they do try to do this and somebody else has just done it, it's going to be like, no, you can't do that. So the third thing in our row is our currency requirement, so we're going to add that. And we are going to select slices from that. We're going to stick with required amount, but you do have the option of minimum only or minimum and maximum, which give you other options. And we're just going to set the amount to 1 and close that out by clicking outside of it. The other things we can do here are a rank requirement, similar to currency but different. An inventory requirement, again similar but different, but it is a consumable, whereas rank is a non-consumable, and currency is also a consumable. We can give it arguments if we wanted to do some really dynamic stuff, but that is very advanced stuff. We can also do required users. That means this doesn't happen when one person does it, but multiple people do it, and you set that amount here and how long they have to run, to all have said that chat message to do it. And then finally, we can show on our chat list context menu, which is part of Mix It Up, and we can delete the chat menu and run. So I'm actually going to turn that one on. So when somebody does !home in the chat, it's going to erase that. It's just going to be like, we don't need that bogging up the chat with stuff. So next we're going to go into our actions dropdown, and I'm going to say overlay, and it's going to tell me that I haven't connected my if I try to do an image, it's probably going to tell me I haven't connected OBS, but I've done it twice apparently. That's fine. So we're just going to leave it as text for right now. It's going to be similar to do an image overlay. You'll just add the image URL instead. And we'll just say home slice, and that's it. Yeah. We do have to link our OBS for this to actually show up. So I'm actually going to just, for the sake of completing this, do a chat message, and we'll do at username. Oh, I've already messed this up. This should be a $sign. Okay, is the homie. So if we click that and go back to our chat window. Oh, interesting. There it is. PGZcast is the homie. So there you go. So if I save this, right, now we go back into Mix It Up, and I'm going to just change it real quick so we know it's a different message. Going to add some sevens to the end there. Save that. Now I go back over here, and it's probably going to let me do this because I'm the admin. But if I go and I do, what, did I call it home or homie? Home. If I do home in the chat, it's going to tell me I do not have the slices to do this. Great. So now we go back in. If I was live, I would be accruing my slices as we speak, and I could just basically wait my 10 minutes out, but I'm going to go cheat. I'm going to click over on our navigation hamburger menu and go down to our users. Look for me, which is super easy because I'm the only one here because it's a brand new channel. And now I can just go into this currency and rank and give myself a little pool of slices to work with. I don't have to save it. I can just close it. And I go back over here, type !home, and there we go. I am now the homie. All right, so that is a super quick way to set up a loyalty point and a chat command that uses that loyalty point. You can find other ways to do more interesting, not just straight out chat messages, but overlays and stuff like that on my YouTube channel. And we'll get into those in the future as well. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below, and I will answer them as best possible. If not in a video, I will respond to you directly. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Okay, so Sam sort of took us through the ability to create that currency, and there's a whole bunch of settings in there. And I think that portion of the stream might be worth revisiting, or you may even have that as a standalone video on your channel. But I mean, there's a lot to unpack potentially there. So I guess a part of me wonders, and this is a question I'm just bringing on Sam without any warning, but I think, like, if you go away and maybe do a little bit of planning and think about the big picture way that you want this currency to work and how you will reward people and the things you'll reward people for, I think that would probably be really worthwhile, because and in a lot of ways, you know, even on our other Mix It Up channel, Mix It Up shows, we've sort of improvised a lot of this, but I think it would be really worthwhile to think about the system and the things that you're putting in place. And again, I love the idea of rewarding the interaction, rewarding the view time, the watch time, because I think that's really, really cool. Although I guess the thing about the watch time too is, like, does Mix It Up know that people might potentially be lurking? Do they need to actually comment to let people know that they're there? Do we know that?
So watch time is generated on the platform side. So it is through either the Twitch API or the YouTube API. And it's however they handle it. And as far as I understand, it's whether you're lurking or actively chatting, it doesn't matter. You could create a system that does in fact reward people who do chat, though I would caution that could, you know, cause spamming to happen, where you just have people every 10 seconds going blah 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 ASDF, you know, whatever, just to get those points. But yeah, there's, as far as I understand, there's no real difference between lurking and actively participating.
Sure. And I guess that's the thing. If you do go into Mix It Up, like, I can go and look at an individual user, and I think we did this on a previous show, and I checked out Saeed, and like, there's all kinds of information about like there's a history of every chat comment he's ever made while I've been running Mix It Up, as well as sort of the watch time and when he subscribed to the channel and that as well. So I guess, you know, outside of maybe an interactive game, although an interactive game is kind of amazing, and I love the idea of doing that, and I think it would really help build your tribe to have some very solid and concrete rituals that they do and be rewarded with little flourishes on the screen. I think that would be really cool. But I guess outside of that, specifically the watch time, the commenting, subscribing, and there's actually another thing that I think was Twitch specific that we sort of discovered a few weeks ago. I don't even remember what that's called right now, but yeah, I will need to think about that one. But yes, because I actually set up a command that essentially would welcome somebody if they subscribe during one of the streams. And as far as I know, that's never actually happened yet successfully. So if you are watching live, hell, let me press this magical button. Don't forget to like and subscribe. So if you are specifically watching on the Learn Live Streaming YouTube channel and you've been thinking about subscribing, hit the button, because hopefully I should have a command that'll welcome you in the chat, and that would be really cool. But yeah, so I guess we've got all those things. And in a previous show, in fact, the last show, we sort of I showed you how to set up something to trigger in OBS via the chatbot. In that case, it was a video overlay, but again, you can sort of take those ideas and combine them with this currency and go from there. So I'm going to go to a quick promo. We'll come back and talk about this a little bit more in just a moment.
Hi, I'm John Lacey, and in Build a Presentation Muscle, I want to talk about finding your voice, refining and sharing your message, using tools and technology to share that message, and looking after yourself as a creator.
And that's a promo for my podcast, Build a Presentation Muscle, which you can find out more about over at johnlacey.com. So this is the video and live streaming show. Today we're talking all about the Mix It Up chatbot and how we can actually reward people for their participation in our live streams. And again, I think it's important just to keep the some of the constraints in mind. First of all, that this is currently only Windows-based software. They are working on a cloud version that will be coming at some point in the future, hopefully. And the other thing too is the commands themselves can really only be triggered from YouTube, Twitch, and Trovo. So depending on your destinations, this may or may not be super relevant, but I just love the idea of sort of fostering a community. Again, I know Sam does a lot on Twitch. I'm pretty YouTube-centric myself, but we both sort of have those options there, so that's really worthwhile. And like Sam, I don't know that I have much prepared, but I think it would be really good to dig into some of the ways that you've used these things in the past. And I guess the one that we keep talking about a little bit is the Cute Avalanche Christmas thing. So I might even see if I can get that up in the background. But tell us about some of the ways that you've actually been using this software.
Sure. So that particular thing actually works a little bit differently. It is using, for some of the sort of interactives and triggers, the Twitch channel points, which works very similar to the loyalty point system that we just built out in Mix It Up. So if you're doing it on YouTube, you can easily do it through Mix It Up completely. Whereas because we started on Twitch, we use the channel point rewards. So they accrue the same sort of way, just through watch time. And then in Mix It Up, we built out different triggers. So if you go into under the chat, the bottom left, it looks like a gemstone, or that little green toggle area, actually. It'll give you a bunch of different sort of chiclet buttons, and you'll see 3 that are the tinsel, the lights, and the topper. And you can then put in, a command there, which is color related, basically, or for the topper, like a Christmas themed thing, like a bow or a mistletoe, things like that, and it'll affect what's on screen in that tree. Interestingly, so you brought this up before in your sort of TikTok experience, sort of rewarding and highlighting either the most donations for one person or the most recent one. And that's what you kind of see up in the top there in the left, the 3 ribbons or bows. We have our most recent subscriber, the most recent donation, and the most recent bits being the paid version of Twitch's loyalty point kind of thing. So you actually purchase those through Twitch and then use them in streamers. And that's all run through Mix It Up. So you could just as simply switch out one of those for your loyalty point and show who has either raised the most loyalty points or the most recent, to use loyalty points in some capacity. Like maybe you make that something they purchase and they can be like, the featured member while it's unchallenged until somebody else does that same trigger. So there's a lot of different ways that you can sort of use these things. There's a lot of different ways that people can be rewarded for using them or earning them, and so on and so forth. So yeah, what you were saying earlier about really sitting down and figuring out how you want this to play out is pretty important. Like, you don't want it to get just completely overwhelming and crazy. there's a big difference between how sort of the Sam Proof show uses overlays versus the Cute Avalanche show or channel. Whereas on Cute Avalanche, aside from just everything being cat themed, we've really specifically taken overlays that have transparent backgrounds and aren't just giant blocks. Whereas on the Sam Proof side of things, it'll be, that big, 4x3 or 16:9 clip from a show that is like a GIF meme of something funny that is, more pop cultural. So it is a decision that you need to make before you go into building all of these things. If you need to, if you want to be repurposing this later, how is that going to affect that product? That being said, we've definitely talked about source record in OBS, and you can totally get away with recording without those interactions showing up in your recording, or even recording one with and one without. So it's just something that, you want to sit down with and think about what my product is after the live stream, or is it the live stream itself? And then what are the constraints therein?
Yeah, it's it's so powerful to be able to record different scenes and sources independently. Obviously, you do need to think a little bit about, your computer's technical capacity to do that, because obviously that takes up the resources. But it's great. Although in some ways, depending, if you're just talking about something, maybe you don't want those distractions on screen. But equally, if you're sort of celebrating your community, you probably do want a version of that you can sort of, you're talking to the people that are in your chats. You've got that overlay popping up and them being rewarded, and just the excitement and the fun of that, I think, is really good. What I guess logistically, I'm kind of curious, because obviously you alluded to the fact that Cute Avalanche and Sam Proof are sort of different things, and I'm just wondering logistically, are you running these on different computers, or is it the same computer, and maybe you've got the ability to switch commands? I realize you can sign in to mix it up with different accounts, but I'm sort of curious about how all that works.
Yes. Yeah, so that is a good point. You can totally sign in to Mix It Up, or set up multiple accounts on Mix It Up. If I go to my login screen on this particular computer, it's got about 6, because I use this for Mob Crush. I've used this for myself. I've, run some tests on the Cute Avalanche channel here. But for actual use, Cute Avalanche has its own PC, which runs 24/7. So I have a separate version of Mix It Up running on that computer. And then on this particular computer, since I will simulcast, or stream at the same time as that PC, I have a separate instance of Mix It Up running here. So they don't share data between the two of them. And yeah, they are local. For the most part, unless there's a very specific reason, I would just run it locally on whatever machine is the streaming machine, especially if you're crazy like me and wanted to interact with OBS. If it's not doing anything like that, if you're not using it to, run a cam switcher or, put overlays on top of the stream, then, it might be beneficial to get, like a mini PC or something just to run it for you. It depends. And that even being said, if you know how enough, you can still sort of trigger overlays remotely and so, stuff like that. I'm not sure about making that OBS connection remotely. So it depends what you want out of Mix It Up at that point.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I guess the other thing too, and this feels like such a uniquely niche John problem, but as someone who potentially could be running a number of different live shows, it may be, and again, this is just a theoretical idea at this point in time, but is there a way for me to maybe toggle on and off these currencies for different pieces of content, or is that just way too hard?
Not at all. It depends on sort of how much time you want to put into this and how much time you want to do manually. But yes, I have basically essentially done things along those lines. On the Sandproof side of things, I run a variety of different shows, for better for worse. And I have multiple currencies happening, as well as ranks and items and all of, or inventory, not items, technically, how they label it. So yeah, there's, different ways of doing this. The cool thing about Mix It Up is that they have a vast library of essentially variables, which they call special identifiers. And everything in Mix It Up is run through JSON. So these special identifiers relate to some sort of, thing stored through a JSON, whether that's your watch time, your follower age, how many of these points you've accrued, whatever rank you have, all of these items, so on and so forth. And you can basically pick and choose how you want to interact with those things. So what I have done over on the Sandproof side is created a special identifier, which you can create your own custom special identifiers, and it is called show. So what happens is at the beginning, I've set this up on my Stream Deck. I hit a button that says set show, whatever the show name is, and the code. It sends that over to Mix It Up, which has an action group that is set show. It puts in that show code that I have created, and it stores in the special identifier. Show code is Season Z, which is my zombie board game show. So now I have a bunch of different commands that have conditional statements that say, if this thing happens and the show code is set to Season Z, proceed with this, action. So if somebody drops 100 bits during the Season Z show, they have now placed a zombie on my board game. Whereas if they do that during, a simple chat show like this, it's not going to say anything about zombies. It's just going to pop up a GIF on screen and say thank you. So it knows the difference, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, and a lot of that is just time staking. Stuff that I time-stakingly set up in advance. You could do the same thing and just have manual triggers, and you go in to Mix It Up and turn things on and off and be like, yep, these are these and these are these. And it really just depends on, how much time you want to spend right before the show or, in advance, making it smarter. Because the smarter you make it, I say smarter with air quotes, the more you're going to forget about in the long run and be like, wasn't that a thing that was supposed to happen? Oh, I should have manually pressed this button, which did all these other things. But yeah, you can totally set up, unique loyalty points per show.
It's funny when you were talking about that just then. I'm thinking probably the best thing for me to do, because we start this stream on a completely blank screen, and then I go to the start button, which is just the music and the video thumbnail. Yeah. And I'm thinking I could just make those commands part of that multi-action on the Stream Deck. So when I start a show, all the magic would happen there. I think that would be really worthwhile. So that's really cool. Okay, so obviously we've done some other shows on Mix It Up, so definitely go and check those out in the archives if you want to learn more. You can certainly leave questions for Sam and I wherever you happen to be watching this. As much as I don't want to leave you on a sad note, I think we do need to talk about this show for a second. We love doing this show. We love the conversations that we have. We are subject to some technical limitations, which I don't think are giving you guys the best experience. And I think we're going to just put this show on hold for a little while until we can sort that out. So I just want to be really clear. We're still friends. We're still collaborators. We're hoping to do maybe a little bit more VOD content in the future rather than live stuff, even though, it's... I don't want to understate how meaningful this has been as a collaboration that we've done for like 2 years at this point. But I just feel like maybe we need to take... I certainly need to take a break at this time of the year and just sleep for a few days, and just sort of I think I have systems for all the things that I do, and I'm very much in the, I don't know, the treadmill of doing them all the time. And I think I need to sort of take a step back and chill out and just see what I want to do again in the new year. So I just wanted to let you know that we won't be having a show next week, and probably not for a while thereafter. But please stay in touch with both of us. Like and subscribe wherever you happen to be watching this, and come and find us. We'll still be doing stuff around this subject matter. But I don't know if there was anything you wanted to add to that, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it is what it is. Like, fate and the internet have thrown us some major curveballs. It has been a pleasure. It's, you know, not every podcast that gets over 100 episodes. So it is a big accomplishment within itself, and it's been a pleasure. And I hope we find, you know, a path forward in one way or the other.
Absolutely. Right, I enjoyed the series. Thanks all. And people can always watch the old replays. Yes, they certainly can. And I think, you know, as much as I love, I love going live. I love the interaction with you guys. I love the interaction with Sam. But it's just in terms of quality and just the combination of our internet connections and being on the other side of the planet from each other, it's logistically it's been a little challenging. And I just want to be really clear that we're not shutting the door. There will be other things potentially happening next year, but they will be a little bit different. And I'm sure Sam will still be going live. I'll probably be going live in the new year. I probably do want to completely just disconnect from everything for a few weeks, and chill out and relax and catch up on sleep and all the other things. But I do want to say thank you to everybody. We have really appreciated your support. So as we... the end is near, as Frank Sinatra said from Business Growth Ready. So yeah, definitely stay in touch. And I guess the other thing, I keep forgetting that I did this, but I did set up some some individual chat commands for when people enter the chat. So there's an example of that one there. So like I said, it's not the end, but things will change and pivot over the coming year probably. But Sam, where can people learn more about you, watch your content, find you on social media, all of the things?
Yeah, head over to samproof.tv. You'll find all of my social links at the top left there. If you need just one, follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/samproof. And if you didn't get enough cats during this stream, head over to cuteavalanche.com for our 24/7 stream. And yeah, have a great holiday, everyone.
Absolutely, and I feel like we did get a lot of cats this week between the videos and the live pussycat in the background. But yeah, if you want to catch up with me, head over to johnlacey.com. I got the podcast and the articles and social links everywhere, but especially find me at the Learn Live Streaming YouTube channel. Yeah, have a great holiday. Enjoy some cats. And again, like I said, it's not the end, so please stay in touch, and we'll talk to you in some fashion in the near future. So good luck, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.